Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here to, cut through the noise on big policy changes. And today, we're tackling something huge for anyone trying to buy their first home in Ontario. The government's proposed HST rebate for new builds.
Yeah, there's a lot of buzz around this one. Big numbers being thrown about. We need to really get into the details. We're talking about the structure, the potential savings up to $130,000 apparently,
Yeah.
but also the rules, the phase-outs, and the legislative hurdles this thing still needs to clear.
Exactly. That's our mission today, to peel back the layers on this plan for potentially $130,000 in combined tax relief. I mean, that number just jumps out at you. But okay, let's unpack this. How do you even arrive at that figure? We probably need to start with the province's piece of the puzzle, right?
Absolutely. Let's just quickly set the stage. HST in Ontario, it's 13%. That's broken down into 8% provincial tax and 5% federal, which is the GST part.
Okay.
So the core of what Ontario is proposing now is to rebate their entire 8% provincial chunk of that HST.
Right, the full 8%. And that's specifically for first-time buyers purchasing new homes valued up to $1 million.
That's the threshold for the maximum savings, yes.
Yeah.
Up to $1 million. Now, here's where the language gets, well, a little interesting already. The province says this plan saves first-time buyers up to $80,000.
Okay, $80,000 from the provincial side seems straightforward if it's 8% of $1 million. Wait, 8% of $1 million is exactly $80,000. So what's the nuance?
The nuance is how they get to that $80,000 figure. They state it's achieved when this new proposed rebate is combined with provincial relief that, well, already exists.
Ah, okay. So it's not $80,000 in new provincial relief on top of everything else. They're bundling existing help into that headline number.
Effectively, yes. From a messaging standpoint, they're showing the total provincial benefit under this new proposed system. But, the key mechanism is new rebating the full 8%. That's the part designed to maximize the savings, specifically from the province. And this whole plan is slated for the 2025 fall economic statement.
Right. And the stated goals, lowering costs, getting more homes built.
Yeah.
Hard to argue with those. But hitting that really eye-popping $130,000 total savings figure, the province can't do that on its own, can it? We need the federal government involved.
Correct. That $130,000 number is entirely dependent on a federal proposal. When they announced back on May 27th, 2025. And remember that date, May 27th, because it pops up later in the eligibility rules.
Okay, May 27th. So the feds control the other 5%, the GST part. What's their proposed contribution here?
Their plan is to effectively remove their 5% portion of the GST from qualifying new homes for first-time buyers. If that goes through, the federal piece alone could save buyers up to $50,000.
Okay, so you take the potential $80,000 from Ontario, the full 8% provincial part, including existing relief, and add the potential $50,000 from the feds, the 5% GST part.
And bingo. 8 plus 5 gives you the full 13% HST relief. On a $1 million home, that maths out to the maximum potential savings of $130,000.
It really highlights how interlinked these policies are. It's not just Ontario acting alone.
And that seems quite deliberate. Ontario had actually been pushing the federal government to work together on removing HST for first-time buyers. So this new provincial rebate, it's specifically structured to kind of mirror the federal government's proposed GST-HST rebate structure. The idea is alignment, maybe even a single application process down the line.
Yeah.
Trying to keep it simple for the buyer.
Simple. And government tax rebates don't always go hand in hand, but okay, the intent is good. Let's talk complexity, though, because we've covered homes up to $1 million. But what happens, and this is, pretty common in places like the GTA, what happens if the new home costs more than $1 million, say $1.1 million or $1.3 million? Does the benefit just disappear?
No, it doesn't just fall off a cliff. This is where the phase-out rules kick in, and it does get a bit more complicated. The structure acknowledges that price point between $1 million and $1.5 million.
Right, that $500,000 range.
Yeah.
So how does it work there? Is it just less money back?
Essentially, yes. For homes in that $1 million to $1.5 million bracket, the new Ontario rebate, the 8% one, is designed to follow the same phase-out rules as the proposed federal rebate. So as the price climbs above $1 million, the amount of the rebate gradually reduces.
Okay, a gradual reduction. But does it reduce all the way to zero, or is there some kind of minimum amount you still get?
There's a floor, safety net, basically. And this ties back to that existing relief we mentioned earlier. Remember, Ontario already has an existing program, the Ontario HST New Housing Rebate. It provides up to $24,000.
Right, the 24K one. That's been around for a while.
Exactly. So the way they've structured this new proposal is that the combined relief from both Ontario rebates, the new full 8% one, And the existing 24K one will never drop below that $24,000 floor.
Ah, I see. So even as the big new rebate tapers off for houses between, say, $1.35 million and $1.5 million.
Correct. In that specific range, $1.35 million to $1.5 million, the phase-out ensures you still end up with at least the $24,000 you would have received under the existing system. So nobody who qualified before is worse off. And just to be crystal clear, this new proposed 8% rebate is in addition to the mechanism that provides the existing $24,000 relief. They work together.
Okay, that clarifies the mechanics, sort of. But now let's hit what seems like the biggest asterisk on this whole thing, the dependency factor. You mentioned the provincial plan mirrors the federal one.
And relies on it heavily. The implementation of this new Ontario rebate is explicitly subject to the passage of federal legislation. Ontario needs the feds to actually enact their proposed GST removal. Plus, it requires corresponding federal regulatory changes. The province is basically saying, we're ready to go, but we need Ottawa to move first.
Wow. So buyers are looking at this potential $130,000 saving, but it's contingent. It's not a done deal just because Ontario announced it.
Not at all. It creates this element of uncertainty, doesn't it? For buyers making decisions now and for builders planning projects, too. It's like holding a provincial IOU that needs a federal cosigner.
Given that dependency, what are the actual timelines we're looking at? You mentioned that May 27th date.
Right. So according to the announcement, the new combined rebate structure would apply if you, the first-time buyer, enter into a purchase agreement with a builder on or after May 27, 2025. That's the start date, retroactively tied to the federal announcement.
On or after May 27, 2025. Okay. And how long does this window last?
The purchase agreement needs to be signed before 2031, so it's a multi-year window, assuming it all gets implemented. And there are deadlines for the builders, too. Construction has to start before 2031, and the home needs to be substantially completed before 2036. It's quite a long runway.
Long runway, but clear dates at least. And for the buyer themselves, besides being a first-time buyer, what's the absolute must-meet condition? Simple, but critical. You have to be buying the new home to use as your primary place of residence. This isn't for investors looking to flip properties or rent them out. It's targeted at owner-occupiers.
Got it. Primary residence only. Okay, let's maybe zoom out a bit. Why this big push now? What's the broader context driving this coordinated, albeit dependent, tax relief effort?
Well, the backdrop isn't pretty for the housing market, frankly. Industry groups like BUILD, that's the Building Industry and Land Development Association, they've called the current situation the worst housing downturn on record. So this policy seems intended as a direct shot in the arm, using tax relief to stimulate demand, hopefully encourage those first-time buyers who've been sidelined by high costs and interest rates, and in turn, spur more construction activity.
And has the industry reacted positively? I imagine builders and developers would welcome something that might boost sales. Largely, yes. RESCON, the Residential Construction Council of Ontario, that actually called for exactly this kind of aligned GST-HT rebate. They praised the move, highlighting that alignment avoids confusion and complexity. Build also welcomed it, seeing it as a chance for first-time buyers to get back into the market, especially since new home prices have actually come down a bit from their peak.
Makes sense. And even municipal groups are supportive.
Yeah, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, also chimed in positively. They see the potential for this to boost demand and, consequently, increase the supply of new homes being built in their communities.
So it's seen as potential helpful on the demand side. Is the province doing anything else on the supply side to complement this?
They are. The announcement materials mention this rebate sits alongside other efforts, things like record investments in municipal infrastructure needed for housing. The Municipal Housing Infrastructure Program got a boost to $4 billion. And there's the Building Faster Fund, which is about $1.2 billion. So the strategy seems to be make it cheaper to buy and make it easier to build simultaneously.
Okay, trying to tackle it from both angles. Let's try to wrap this up with the key takeaways then. The big picture goal is 13% total HST relief. That's the 8% provincial plus the 5% federal for first-time buyers purchasing new homes valued up to $1 million.
Right, leading to that maximum potential saving of up to $130,000.
But, and this is the huge but, that $130K figure, and indeed the whole enhanced provincial rebate structure, is totally dependent on the federal government passing its own legislation to remove the 5% GST.
Precisely. And we also have those phase-out rules for homes between $1 million and $1.5 million designed to taper the benefit down, but ensuring you still get at least the existing $24,000 provincial rebate at the higher end of that range.
And eligibility requires signing a purchase agreement on or after May 27, 2025 and before 2031 for your primary residence.
That sums up the mechanics pretty well.
Right.
But the dependency, that really is the central point right now. Think about this. Ontario makes this very detailed announcement on October 28th, 2025, but it hinges entirely on a federal proposal. And the province's own full legislative details won't even be tabled until their fall economic statement on November 6th, 2025.
So there's this gap, an announcement gap and a legislative dependency gap. What does that leave the listener, the potential buyer, thinking about today?
Well, the provocative thought maybe for you to chew on is this. If this entire structure, promising up to $130,000 in savings, is conditional on federal action, that might take time or, theoretically might not happen exactly as proposed. What does that mean for your certainty right now? You might be asked to sign a purchase agreement today based on rules tied back to May 2025, banking on future legislative outcomes in Ottawa. How comfortable are you with that gap between the promise and the legal guarantee? That's the critical uncertainty to watch as the federal piece